What up, everybody? We're outside of the Footprint Center where the Phoenix Suns play the Brooklyn Nets tonight. We got to ask people what they think about Kyrie Irving not getting vaxxed. Let's check it out. What do you think about Kyrie Irving right now? Are you from New York yourself?
I'm from New Mexico, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been to Brooklyn, a couple games over there and stuff.
What do you think about his stance right now, continuing to be unvaccinated?
I mean, he should have his choice. I believe in his freedom, you know what I mean? I don't have a problem with it. I'm a fan of the Nets. You know, I could be selfish and be like, no, I want to be vaccinated so he could help my team win or whatever. But I think there's things more important other than basketball. So
yeah, and I think that's what it is.
And the rule just doesn't make sense to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, players that are unvaccinated could go play in Brooklyn, but he can't play in Brooklyn. It defeats the purpose.
That's the funny part about this, because we're at the Footprint Center. We're right outside the Phoenix Suns arena. He can play here, but he can't play at home.
Yeah, and then like unvaccinated players can go play in Brooklyn, but he can't. So like.
What do you think about him not complying, though? Because he's taking a lot of hits. Like, obviously, you got people like Stephen A. Smith that are crapping on him quite a bit, but he said, no, I'm holding the line here, and this is not about being on the right side of politics or the left side of politics. This is about freedom.
It's just, you know, some people have morals, some people have values, and that's what he believes in, and he sticks to it, and it means more to him than money.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the NBA is going to fold at some point and say, hey, like, or at least maybe not even the NBA, it's New York City that's going to say, hey, you should be able to decide for yourself?
I think it will. It's already trending that way. You know, teams they're not testing asymptomatic players and stuff like that. And I think eventually it will. I think it's just about trying to get as much people vaccinated. And then when over time they're just going to do away with it and hope majority of people got vaccinated. Mm-hmm.
What do you think this means for people that are being forced into vaccination, like healthcare workers, kids right now, even in New York, and their families? How do you think they look at Kyrie Irving? Do you think they look at him as a leader, or what do you think?
It just depends. Everybody has different situations. It's not like a black and white thing. There's certain gray areas, certain situations that contributing factors to things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're not all the same, and it's just. Some people might see him as a hero, some people might not, and it's just with everything in life, you know what I mean?
Yep. And then for him, are you rooting for him a little bit more now that he's had this courageous stand?
I've always liked him a lot. I mean, I've always liked how he's been a free thinker, just a person that moves to the rhythm of his own drum and just his own person, you know what I mean? I think that's all you could ask from anybody in life is just be yourself.
He's an interesting cat too, because he's got like sage vape that he's throwing out on the court. He's a flat earther, and he's got different politics than some people, but a lot of people have aligned with him and said like, hey, I really appreciate the stance that you have.
Yeah, and like, I mean, he doesn't come off like in a disrespectful way or anything. He's just himself, and if you, I guess, vibe with him, if you like him, then you like him. If you don't, you don't, and he's unbothered by it because he knows who he is.
Mm-hmm. Betting question. Is he going over 20 points tonight? Should I put some money on that?
I think he does, and the Nets cover. I don't know if we win, but they cover.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. So what do you think about the whole Kyrie Irving situation right now? Because we're in Phoenix, Arizona. He's not able to play in his home games, but he's able to travel here and play. What do you think?
I have so many thoughts. I think it's dumb. I think he should be able to play everywhere.
Yep.
I think he has a lot of weird opinions that I haven't liked him. He's a great player, but he annoys the crap out of me.
Yep.
But on this issue, I agree with him, and I think he should play on all the games.
Because I think that's what's fascinating to me is someone like Kyrie Irving that doesn't fit in a specific box. Where someone like me, I'm going to be more on the right side of the aisle, and I think that he should be able to play everywhere. But I think he's had a courageous stance. What do you think about the stance, like really holding firm and holding the line?
I love it. I mean, that's why I actually like him now. Currently, I like him because I think that's great. You shouldn't be able to force him to do anything. So I'm with him, and I'm glad he's actually doing it. The media obviously doesn't talk about it and make a big deal, but he's taking a stand, and I'm happy about it.
What do you think about media specifically? Because you got people like Stephen A. Smith that was trying to make a big deal about him quarantining at home, and he's trying to vilify Kyrie Irving and trying to tell him that like he's basically just tried to say that he's selfish and that he doesn't care about the team. But it's not just about Kyrie Irving. It's about the millions of people that have lost their jobs because they want to do what they want with their body.
Yeah, 100%. And I saw that on Instagram, and I commented, Stephen A. Smith, stop I said, shut up. And then I got a notification that said, comments like this have been, have been flagged. Are you sure you want to post it? I'm like, yes, post it. Like he's not doing anything crazy. So it was annoying. It's annoying to hear. It drives me nuts.
If you were able to have a nice little one-on-one with Kyrie Irving, what would you tell him?
I would say, you're flat earth. You have a lot of weird things, and I don't know why you sat out in past years, and you do a lot of weird things, but thank you for sticking up for this vaccine thing. Yeah. Because it's ridiculous that you're getting called out, and Stephen A. Smith is talking crap about you. So I appreciate it.
And then final question for you. Why do you think this is so important, not just this season, but for seasons to come and maybe just years to come, and more than just basketball? This is about people in healthcare. It's about people that are in law enforcement. These are about kids in schools that are still masked up and even forced to get the vax in places like New York City. Yeah.
So, I think all of these things, the precedences, is that the right word? Precedences are being set right now. Yeah. So, if everybody folds and everybody's like, okay, I'll get the vaccine, then they win. So you have to have people that stick up for things because somewhere along the lines that people have figured out, that the media has figured out, that there's a lot of power in Facebook and Twitter and censoring people. And so with Kyrie Irving and others that are standing up to it, it's important for the future. Because, the louder side is not the majority, I don't think. The media is not they sound the loudest, but there's a lot of us that don't believe that, and we're going to stick up for it. We're just kind of a quieter crowd, so it's good that he can continue to, stick up for that.
And then, are you a Suns fan? Are you from the area?
I am from the area. Yeah, I like the Suns.
But you're rooting for Kyrie tonight. Kyrie needs to do well, but you need your Suns to win.
I'd say so. I chose this game because I'm like, sweet, I get to watch Kyrie and KD and Harden. Actually, again, I haven't liked any of these players. I don't like any of these players, but I have a little bit of love for Kyrie because of his stance on things, and they're great players. So, I'm happy for him to do his magic. I'm excited.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so what do you think about Kyrie Irving's vaccine status here? There's a lot of people that are saying hey, he should be able to play at home, but he can't. Yeah. But he's able to play at the Footprint Center here in Phoenix, Arizona. What do you think about the whole situation?
I don't know. I think it's very political and very stupid. I don't know. I think that whole vaccine stuff is a stupid thing, but I guess I get it in a way for the Nets thing. But
What do you think about him holding the line, though? Because he was out for almost the first full half of the season, and then now he's back. They realize they can't win a championship or even compete with a championship without him.
I think that they do need him in that he brings a lot to the table when they play. They really need him, and he's a good player for them.
So what do you think about other players that have kind of decided hey, because it's interesting too. I'm a Warriors fan myself, so I'm from the Bay Area, and the Andrew Wiggins situation, he said I basically just don't own my body anymore, and I got to get this. What do you think about players like that decided to comply compared to Kyrie that said, hey, I'm going to stand firm in this?
I think he just wants to put his foot down and be that vocal person that wants to be the face of people not wanting to get it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then why do you think this has become so political? Because Kyrie Irving's one of those guys. He thinks the earth is flat. He's been a huge supporter of BLM. Yeah. And it's not like he's on the conservative side or the right side of politics. He's just someone that thinks that people, hey, this is your body. You should be able to do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's his big thing in the whole thing. It's his body, and he wants to do what he wants.
Yeah. We've been chatting with a lot of people about what they think about Kyrie Irving's vaccine status. We got people on both sides of the aisle. What do you think?
I think he doesn't want us to take him that serious. I think he just kind of threw something and stuck to a wall, and now he's stuck having to talk about it. His shoes are still really fun to play in, though, so I'll give him that. I'll still buy his shoes still.
Do you think he really understands the stance that he's making?
Yeah, I think he just wanted, Kyrie does things for the sake of argument. So I didn't think he thought it would get this big, but he just seems like one of those people that want to do stuff for the sake of argument, and now he's stuck on this side of the aisle for it.
The next question would be, though, is do you think he's right?
No, come on, man. Absolutely not. Like, it's Kyrie. You kind of just, he went to Duke, sort of, but you can't take him, like, that serious.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I'm a UNC guy. So, like, anybody's from Duke, like, obviously I'd love to hate on a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that have decided, like, hey, I feel like I've done enough research and I feel like I want to do what I want with my body. I'm not going to let the NBA tell me what to do. I'm not going to let my government tell me what to do. What do you think about that?
I mean, people are gonna fight anybody that tells them what to do. Like it's like a kindergartner being told what to do. Like, just because somebody told them that not to do it, they're gonna want to do it. And I think that's what this whole thing is about. Like, people not being told what to do, because people do things for the sake of argument. So I think everybody just wants to fight something, so they just chose this.
But you bring up the Aaron Rodgers approach, and there's a lot of people that have not really enjoyed how vocal he's been, but it comes down to freedom. And I feel like that's what Kyrie is seemingly standing for. It's what Aaron Rodgers is standing for. Tyler Bertuzzi in the NHL. Novak Djokovic. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a big believer in, yes, your liberty is important no matter who you are. But at the end of the day, also, you live in a society, and your freedom starts where mine begins. And if he's doing things that impacts other people's ability to live their lives, I'm not the biggest fan of that. So if he's going to be unvaccinated in places where they've decided that that's a danger to public health, probably not the best idea.
But those people that are deciding what's a danger to public health, they've called a lot of people conspiracy theorists years ago that said cloth masks don't work. CDC came out and said those aren't effective. You had the CDC that also came out with another report that said, hey, people that are unvaccinated were able to fight Delta with natural immunity better than people that were vaccinated. So I think that comes down to people like Kyrie Irving holding the line, just like some other athletes. They seem to have been right.
Well, Kyrie Irving's whole thing was he wasn't completely against the vaccination. He was just against people losing their jobs because of it.
Yeah, like a forced vax. Like he's saying, like, it's similar to like a Cole Beasley situation where he's saying, hey, I'm not anti or pro-vax. I'm pro-freedom. So I think that's what Kyrie Irving's standing for too. He's saying, hey, anybody, you want to get it, go for it, but it should be your choice to decide yes or no.
Yeah, but you also have to respect municipalities, though. If that's what the place where you're going to has decided that that's what their constituency agrees to, you're kind of, saying screw you guys in your opinion because my opinion matters more to me, so I'm not going to abide by your rules that you decided for where you live. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to play in New York and that's what New Yorkers have decided is best for them, that's, or Brooklyn, I'm sorry, not New York. He's not.
I get in that too.
Let's not anger Knicks fans and say that he plays for New York. But, if that's what they have decided for their municipality, you got to respect it.
But there's also people that are not in the same position as Kyrie Irving. Like, obviously it's still a courageous stance. He loses millions of dollars and he doesn't get those game checks and everything. But there's people that work in healthcare that at some point they were heroes. And then for some reason, if you're not vaccinated, you're not able to take care of people. And you got kids that are being forced into masks in vaccination. Do you think that his stance is making a difference there at all?
I'm not sure. As a person, my son got COVID on Friday, so anything to keep kids safe at schools, I'm probably going to go with now, just because I had a son walking around with a headache for 3 days. So
I work in education personally, and schools shut down when too many kids get sick, and if they get sick, you're putting teachers at risk. And so I'm all for any health measure that gives parents, kids, and teachers the most safety possible. These are trying times. Obviously, one person's belief is just as important to them as anybody else's. But I don't see how, his stance isn't necessarily going to affect people, on the other side of the aisle from him changing their opinion. You know what I mean? It's their opinion is just as important as anybody else's also.
Yeah, and then obviously we're within 6 feet right now, so you got...
No, we're about to head out. We're about to head out. I'm tripled up, so I'm good.
But what I would say probably last question here is, do you feel like at very least what Kyrie Irving has done is led to good discussion and good civil discourse about what is the real science here and what actually keeps people safe and what it means to kind of hold the line and have bodily autonomy?
Do you think this discourse has been civil?
I don't think it's been civil discourse, but at least it's added discussion to the situation.
I just think he started a thing where people were just going to argue no matter what now, and no minds are going to be changed, and everybody that was on whatever side of the aisle was just going to be stuck with that one, and it was just trying to get somebody to say blue isn't blue, and it was just going to be like that regardless. So it's done more arguing than actually changing people's minds.
The one thing in his favor, though, is at least he has been pretty civil. You know, he may be venturing into a place where the arguments aren't very, but his personal way he's handling it has been pretty mellow and not confrontational. So for him personally, he's done an okay job, I think.
And I think that's what I can appreciate too, because we don't have to have these discussions and feel like, hey, I need to change your mind in these next couple minutes.
Yeah.
But let's at least talk about it. And I think that's at least what something that Kyrie Irving has done. It's led to discussion. It's riled some people up. But at least we can sit outside or stand outside a Footprint Center and have this discussion.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us, man.